Sarvebhya Namaskaraha. A very warm welcome to you all to yet another Vedic Astrology Masterclass series of 2023. I am Dr. Archana Murthy. Today's masterclass will be given by PVR Narasimha Rao ji. He will be teaching about annual charts of a Muhurta chart. Before I introduce PVR Narasimha Rao ji, a quick note to our viewers, please post your questions in the live chat or comment section. The speaker will address each question at the end of the session. Narasimha Rao ji has a bachelor's degree from IIT Madras and a master's degree from Houston, USA. He works in Greater Boston area as a senior engineering manager at a top semiconductor firm. He is also a Sanskrit scholar with a Samskrita Bhasha Kovida and Samskrita Bhasha Visharada degrees and combines this Sanskrit knowledge with a scientific temper to conduct fresh research into the teachings of our rishis. He has authored the popular Jagannatha Hora software. Many Jyotishastram students and researchers use this software. This is freely downloadable on his website, vedicastrologer.org. Many do it yourself Homa manuals can also be freely downloaded from his website. A very warm welcome to you, Mahodaya.
Namaste. Namaskar, Archana ji, and namaste to all your audiences.
Sir, as we know, Muhurta is Muhurto Namakala Visheshaha. We will now begin the masterclass on annual charts of a Muhurta chart. Narasimha Rao ji, over to you.
Thank you. Namaste, all of you. Today's topic is annual charts of a Muhurta chart. Let us see what is a Muhurta. What is the concept of a Muhurta? Whenever you do something important, a new activity, you pick an auspicious time for it. And at that auspicious time, you start that activity. And that is called Muhurta. Now, Muhurta chart is in a way like a birth chart. Birth chart is the chart when a new entity is born, like a human being or an animal, etc. When, for example, two people get married, their marital life is a new entity that is born at the time two people get married. Similarly, if somebody starts working at a new company, joins a new job, then basically that person's tenure at that particular company is the new entity that has been born at the time of the Muhurta. Like that, basically, or let's say somebody does a Graha Pravesh, somebody enters a new house as an owner, then basically a new owner occupying and living in the house, the very act of somebody living in the house is the entity that is born at that time. So just like human beings are born at a particular time and the planetary position at the time decides how that person's life will unfold, similarly the time when a particular entity, these abstract entities like somebody is living in a house or somebody is tenured at a company or two people living together as husband and wife, so all these kind of abstract entities, when based on the time they're born, if you make the chart at the time and if you look at the planetary positions, they basically give you an idea of how the destiny unfolds in that particular entity's life. And now the question is, are they important? Like, is the Muhurta chart as important as the chart of a human being? Well, some people will say that Muhurta, the entity that is born in a Muhurta is an abstract entity, whereas human beings are concrete beings. But the thing is, if you fall back to the Vedantic thinking, even though it may seem like this person who's in flesh here is concrete, whereas some of the concepts that I mentioned earlier are kind of abstract, in a way even this entity is an abstract entity. It's not really, it's concrete if you basically believe in it. What our Upanishads say is there is just one field, one a non-dual field, just Brahman that exists. And because my mind as well as your minds have entertained the concept that there is a person here, we basically perceive that being, and it is possible to basically take the mind back to a primordial state where all these entities do not exist. So in a way, even though we are all preconditioned to think that human beings, animals, etc. are very concrete, even these are really abstract entities. And when we talk about somebody's tenure at a company, or somebody's uh, life in a particular house, or two people living together as husband and wife, these are all abstract concepts. They're not really conceptually different from a human being or an animal. They're just different entities that exist in the field of Brahman. And as a matter of fact, there are some Puranic stories where some of these abstract entities were actually visualized by somebody as a living personality. So it is all a matter of perspective and a matter of reference frame. In different reference frames, different things are concrete and different things are abstract. So the thing is, once we talk about a particular entity, and we decide when that entity is born, when that entity starts existence, the chart at that time, basically the planetary positions at that time, do govern the life of that person, life of that entity. Now the question is, for human beings, we have the concept of annual charts. Every year, at the birthday and the exact time of birth, we make an annual chart, and we see how destiny will unfold in the coming year. So does it apply to Muhurta charts also? And conceptually, it made sense to me that it should apply. There is no reason why you can't make annual charts for a Muhurta chart when a particular entity is born. For example, when I got married, let's say I got married in 1993, that marriage that started, the marital life of two people that started in 1993, doesn't end in a small amount of time. Basically, as long as those two people are together, that entity will continue its existence. Similarly, if somebody joins a job at a particular time, that tenure at that company, there may be changes. The person may be promoted or demoted. The role may change, the work may change, but the tenure at that company will go on as long as that person is employed at that company. So because that entity continues its existence, can we make annual charts to see how important things happen in the life of that particular entity during a particular year? So I explored with several examples, and I found uh, very convincing examples of that suggest that this is a valid thing to do, and conceptually it does make sense. So I'm going to illustrate with a few examples the concept of using annual charts in the for the Muhurta chart and seeing important events during that year. Uh, what kind of annual charts are we talking about? I'll try to cover both. There are two types of annual. Actually, there are many types of annual charts, but these are the two popular annual charts. One is Tajaka chart. It is the solar return chart when sun comes back to the same position he occupied in the birth chart. So that is solar return chart. And the other one is Tithi Pravesha chart. It is Solilunar return chart. So in the lunar month in which the person was born, when the lunar day or the Tithi of birth returns, and the same percentage of Tithi is left as at birth, we cast a chart called Tithi Pravesh chart. So this is the Solilunar return chart. So we'll use both the charts, and we will use the annual chart of a Muhurta to see important developments during the year. And you have to remember one thing here. Suppose you are looking at a marriage chart, a wedding chart, when two people got married. So that chart is not of those two people. It is the chart of their life together. It is the chart of the entity that is represented by the chart is their marriage. And in marriage, what kind of things can happen? Children can be born, marriage can be happy, marriage can be sad, there can be divorce, marriage can end. So things like divorce, things like marital happiness, marital disharmony, birth of children, these kind of things can be seen. And of course, the other kind of things are any dharmic work those two people do. if a couple is engaged in a lot of dharmic work in a particular year, lot of religious ceremonies, etc., that is also an important development in the life of the entity called their marital life, their marriage. So that can also be seen. But if somebody is promoted during a year, stuff like that, you can't really say, because it is not the destiny of the marriage or the marital life. But if one of them is promoted and because of that there are ego clashes and there are tensions, you can see that. But the thing is, it may not, the career itself may not be seen clearly, but the relationship will be seen more clearly. So like that, you have to see what kind of events are relevant to see in the annual chart. Suppose you are looking at somebody's tenure at a company. When somebody started a new job, you make a chart and see the tenure at that company. You can see things like promotions, layoffs, or demotions, or a very challenging year when somebody is struggling in the job, or a very great year when somebody is highly recognized and rises in the career and stuff like that. So it has to be limited to the job. Basically, you can't see like childbirth, etc., in the new job chart, because it's not relevant, unless in a particular case there is some relevance between the job and the birth of a child. Then you may, but 99% of the case, that's 99% of the chart, that's not the case. So you use your common sense. What is the entity that is whose chart we are looking at, and what kind of events in the lives of the natives involved are reflected, basically, are related to that particular abstract entity that we are talking about. So I'll give a few examples, and then it will be clearer. It will be more concrete in your mind. And one small word I want to say, this is not really based on any clear Sastric principles. This is based on my research. But my thinking is, if something makes sense logically, you pursue it. And if it is working in reality, then you basically teach it and you practice it. So that's basically my thinking. So with that spirit, I'm sharing the finding of my research. And I urge you to do your own research and conclude for yourself it is working or not. And then if it is working, you can use it. Now, what is the purpose of this? Well, there are a couple of different purposes. One is, suppose you don't have somebody's birth chart. Some people don't have their birth time recorded. So in that case, you can't really make a birth chart and see the destiny of the person. But if you are interested in their marriage, or if you are interested in their career, etc., you have a chart uh, for the, I mean, assuming you have a muhurta, when somebody, when somebody started a job, or when somebody got married, but you don't have their birth chart, you can make those charts and see those areas of life. So for specific areas of life, if an important muhurta relating to that area of life is available, you can use that and draw conclusions, important conclusions, because otherwise you're just blind, you're running blind without the birth chart. So this can be really valuable in cases where you don't have the birth chart. And as a matter of fact, I use it even when birth chart is known, because we are, in the words of Parasara, we are intellectual pygmies of Kali Yuga. We are not really that smart. There are so many factors that rishis have taught, and balancing all of them and making the right judgment, we are not really that good at it. And moreover, our understanding of various principles is not really complete. So we are never 100% confident in our predictions. So by combining multiple techniques, if one technique is suggesting that this is possible, another technique is also suggesting that same thing is possible, we can be more confident. So as more and more techniques are confirming that a particular event is likely, we can be more confident in our prediction. So even in cases where the birth time is known, I basically use this technique to uh, confirm what I am seeing. If I see something in the dashas, natal chart dashas, the Tajka chart of the person, and the Tipravesh chart of the person, and maybe transits are also suggestive, because none of them are conclusive. Everything is suggestive that this is possible, this is less possible, etc. So by adding this also, I can be more confident. So that is basically how I used in real life. And one small word on Muhurta itself. Uh, Muhurta is ideally is an instant when that particular entity has started its existence. So you have to define it very carefully. Suppose you are talking about marriage. The real definition of when the marital life started, basically when they are the two individuals become one is when the Mangal Sutra is tied with the Mangaljam Tantra Nena Maujivan Hetuna mantra. When the Mangal Sutra is tied in different parts of India, there are different traditions. For example, in the state where I am from, there is a paste made of cumin seeds and jaggery, and the bride puts it on the bridegroom's head, and bridegroom puts it on the bride's head. People do that at the time of Muhurta, but really, if that happens and the marriage doesn't, wedding stops for some reason, you don't consider them married. When the Mangal Sutra is, when the sacred thread is basically worn, it is tied by the bridegroom to the bride. That is the real definition. That is when you are consecrating with the mantra Mangaljam Tantra Nena Maujivan Hetuna. So you have to identify the right moment when the chart has to be cast, and basically think logically and say at what moment this particular entity has really started its existence, starts breathing on its own. So define that way, whether it's a job or marriage or various other things. Define the Muhurta time logically and basically find it accurately and then use that. So we will do a few examples of wedding, and then we'll do a few other different miscellaneous examples. But most of the examples that I focus on will be wedding. So let's take a few principles. Just look at the Rasi chart, Navamsa chart, and the Satamsa chart of the annual charts, Tajika and the private charts. And if one of them is strong, the other is weak, you can still conclude. If both of them are weak, no conclusion, like that basically. So you can use both of them, and if there is a strong indication in one of them, there is a good chance. And what is the criteria for childbirth? First house, fifth house, and the ninth house, basically Pura Punya and fortune. they the houses should be strong and the law should be strong, and there should be some connections between them. And also if there are some links with the third and 11th houses, because third is the house of gains from child and 11th is the house of gains. So if there are some links with the third and 11th house between these houses, we can conclude that there is possibility of childbirth during the year. So what I will do is, I have a couple of charts that I will show. Example 1, wedding happened in March 1999, and example 2, wedding happened in 1993 August. So for the first chart, 1999 chart, 2001 annual chart, and 2005 annual chart, both Tajika and Pravesh will see, during that year there was a childbirth. And then 2005 again there was a childbirth. And for the second chart, 1993 August wedding chart, in 1995 Tajika chart, early 1996, before 1993 August, before 1996 August, child was born in early 1996. So we had to look at the annual chart of 1995, not 1996. So we look at Tajika and Pravesh charts of 1995 and 1998. So let me bring up Jehora Jagannath Hora, and give me a second. Let me open the chart. Okay, so the data is March 4, 1999, 8 a.m. Vijayawada, India. This is the longitude and latitude. This is the chart of wedding. This is not the chart of bridegroom or bride, but this is the time when they got married, when the marriage occurred. So let us see what are the years we said, 2001. So let's look at Tajika chart of 2001. Let me just double check. 2001, 2005. Okay. We bring it back. 2001 Tajika chart. And let me make we don't care about Dasamsa, look at Navamsa. Why Navamsa? Well, Navamsa is in general Dharma, and overall Dharma is the one that protects you. And one of the Dharmas of marriage is getting children, basically continuing the lineage. So Navamsa is relevant, and Saptamsa is the chart of children. So it is a chart of the fruits of desire. So we look at Rasi, Navamsa, and Saptamsa. So this is the Tajika chart of 2001, March 2001. Are there any interesting combinations? In the Rasi chart, the Lagna Lord Mercury is in the 5th house, and the 5th Lord Saturn is in the 9th house, and he's with the 11th Lord Moon, who's exalted. And He's aspected by the third lord Mars, and he also aspects the third house. The fifth lord aspects the third house, and the ninth lord of fortune Venus, he's exalted and he's aspecting Lagna. So there are a lot of nice connections between first, fifth, ninth, etc., and some third and 11th involvements are also there. And if you look at the Navamsa chart, the fifth lord Sun and the ninth lord Jupiter are together in Lagna, and Sun is exalted. The fifth lord of children is exalted, and the Lagna lord is also in his own sign. And you may think that he's in the eighth house, but if you look at the longitudes, he's actually in the Lagna is at 4 degree Aries, and Mars is at 21 degree Scorpio. So he's actually in the ninth house. So Lagna Lord is in the ninth house. On the other hand, Jupiter is at 6 degree, Sun is at 2 degree. So they're very close with the Lagna. So fifth Lord and ninth Lord in Lagna, fifth Lord exalted, and the Lagna Lord in the ninth house in own sign. So that's a pretty good combination. Also, you have the third Lord in the fifth house. So there are some other indications. But basically, there is enough strength here. And if you look at the Saptamsa chart finally, the Lagna Lord Moon, he's in the fifth house of children, and the ninth Lord Jupiter of fortune in the matter of children. He's in one sign and he's aspecting Lagna and Lagna Lord, both of them. Okay, so there are some good combinations in all the three charts. So it's not really very surprising that the person got a child in this particular year. So basically, what we are saying is the entity that started existence on March 4, 1999, which is their marital life. In that entity's life, there is an important incident, event possible during this year with respect to being blessed with children. And let us look at the Tithi Pravesh chart of the same year, 2001. Because I went through one example very slowly, I'll try to breeze through other examples, go quickly. So if you look at the Tithi Pravesh chart of 2001, it was in February, and the ninth Lord Mercury of fortune and protection, he's in the fifth house of children, and the fifth co-lord Rahu. There are two lords, Saturn and Rahu. So the co-lord Rahu, he's basically in the ninth house of fortune, and Saturn, the other co-lord, you may think that he is in eighth house, but if you actually look at the longitudes, Lagna is at 27 degree Libra, and Saturn is only at 1 degree Taurus. So he's actually close to 27 degrees in Aries. So he's actually in the seventh house, close to the cusp of the seventh house, aspecting Lagna. So fifth lord and Yokaraka Saturn is aspecting Lagna. Other fifth lord is in ninth house. And if you look at the Navamsa chart, the fifth lord Venus is actually in the fifth house in Molatrikona. So that is a blessing. And also ninth co-lord Rahu, he is in the 11th house, aspecting Rahu. So there is a yoga between fifth lord and ninth lord, basically. And finally, actually, let's leave it. Let's look at the Saptamsa. In the Saptamsa chart, you will see that actually the Saptamsa chart is not that strong, honestly. The Lagna Lord is aspecting Lagna. Other than that, there's not much strength. But one thing is the fifth Lord and ninth Lord are in mutual trines, and the Karaka and the ninth Lord Jupiter is in one sign. So there is some blessing, but this is not really strong. But the other charts are very strong, and Tajaka charts, in Tajaka, all the three charts are very strong. So basically, it's not too surprising that there was a child in this year. Let's look at the Tithi chart of 2005, when the second child was born. In the Rasi chart, you will see that the fifth Lagna Lord Saturn is in the fifth house, and the fifth Lord of children, Mercury, he's in Lagna with Yokarka Venus, ninth Lord and fourth Lord. So there are multiple yogas here between Sun, Mercury, and Venus. And also there is a Parivartana, by the way. Lagna Lord and fifth Lord Parivartana is conducive to childbirth. And if you look at the Navamsa chart, you see that Lagna Lord and fifth Lord, Moon and Jupiter are in Samsaptaka. And finally, if you look at the Saptamsa chart, you see that the fifth Lord Venus is exalted, fifth lord is is exalted in a trine, and the uh, Lagna Lord Mercury is in a trine from the exalted fifth Lord Venus, and Saturn, the ninth Lord, is basically aspecting Lagna. So there are some nice combinations, but compared to Navamsa and Saptamsa, Rasi is very, very, very strongly indicating childbirth. And finally, let us look at 2005 Tajka chart also. Okay, if you look at the 2005 Tajka chart, let's see. The fifth house of children contains Yokarka Mars and also the ninth lord. And Lagna Lord Sun is aspecting Lagna. But the basically fifth house is pretty strong. And it also, by the way, it has 3/4 aspect by its own Lord, Jupiter. And if you look at the Navamsa chart, the Lagna Lord is in the ninth house, ninth Lord is exalted in the fifth house. So there are fifth and ninth are really blessed. And the fifth Lord Mars is in own sign. He's strong. Uh, and finally, if you look at the Saptamsa, the fifth Lord Mercury is in Lagna, and the Lagna Lord Saturn is in 11th house of gains in the chart of children, and he's aspecting the fifth house of children. So, and the other thing is the Yokarka Venus, the ninth Lord, he's basically in own sign. So that is also a positive. And if you look at the longitude, actually, Venus is not in the fourth house; he's in the third house. So if you look at the longitudes, I'll leave the details. So the Yokarka and ninth Lord Venus in the third house of gain of children aspect in the ninth house, and the fifth Lord in Lagna. So it is pretty positive. So this is one example. I showed two children's birth using Tajka and Tithi Pravesh. Now let us look at another chart. August 1, 1993, 9:28 p.m. in I didn't show the place here. It's Machilipatnam, India. So if you look at this chart, let's look at the 1995. 1996 February is when his child was born. So we'll look at the Tajika chart of 1995 because it is before August in 1996. So if you look at this chart, you see that in the Rashi chart, Lagna Lord and the ninth Lord are together in the 11th house of gains and aspecting the fifth house of children, and the fifth Lord Saturn is aspecting Lagna. In the Navamsa chart, you see that the ninth Lord Mercury is in the first house. Ninth Lord is in first house, and Lagna Lord Saturn is in seventh house. So basically, there is a Samasaptaka between Saturn and Mercury. So Lagna Lord and ninth Lord are having a Rajoga, and the fifth Lord Venus is in Mulatrikona. He's very strong. So there are some conducive factors. And let us look at the Saptamsa chart. In the Saptamsa chart, the fifth Lord of children Saturn is aspecting the Lagna, and he's also the dispositor of the Lagna Lord, and the ninth Lord Venus is in ninth house. So when fifth Lord is in fifth or Lagna Lord is in Lagna, you basically that particular chart becomes strong. So Saptamsa that shows children is blessed during that year because of this Venus. So so basically there are some interesting indications. And let us finally look at Tithi chart of 1995. If you look at the Tithi chart, in the Tithi chart, let us look at the Saptamsa. In the Saptamsa chart, the okay, Mercury, Lagna Lord, you may think that he is in the 12th house, but he's actually in the 11th house. So Mercury, the Lagna Lord is in the 11th house, aspecting if you look at the longitudes, he's a 3 degree, Lagna is a 22 degree. So, Mercury, the Lagna Lord is in the 11th house, aspecting 5th house, and the 5th Lord Saturn is aspecting the Lagna, and the 9th Lord Venus is in Lagna. Actually, he's within 5 degrees from the Lagna. And if you look at the longitudes, Venus and Saturn are very close, within a couple of 1.5 degrees. So there is a yoga between the fifth Lord Saturn and the ninth Lord Venus. There is a Samsaptaka on the Lagna axis. So that is basically conducive to getting a child. And in the Navamsa chart, Lagna Lord Jupiter is in the ninth house, and uh, Moon, you may think that he's in the sixth house, fifth lord. That's not conducive to childbirth, but he's actually, if you look at Lagna is 1 degree, Moon is at 29-degree Leo. So he's actually almost close to 1 degree Virgo. So fifth lord is in the seventh house, aspecting Lagna, and the Lagna lord is in the ninth house, aspecting Lagna and the fifth house. So there are some. Oh, by the way, the ninth lord of fortune is exalted in the 11th house, and he is basically aspecting the fifth house. So there are good corrections between first, fifth, and ninth. And I didn't look at the Rasi chart. There are some interesting indications there also, but I'll skip it. We have enough case based on Navamsa and Saptamsa. And finally, let us look at not finally. Let us look at the second child. 1998 is when the child is born. So it was in 1998 August, but after the New Year chart of 1998. So we stick to 1998. So quickly, the Lagna contains Lagna Lord, and the fifth Lord of children is in the third house of gain of children. Karaka Jupiter is aspecting fifth house. In the Navamsa, you see that Lagna Lord and fifth Lord are together, and in there is a Rajoga between the Lagna Lord and fifth Lord, and Lagna Lord and fifth Lord are in trine from the ninth Lord. And finally, in the Saptamsa chart, Lagna Lord is in the fifth house of children. And actually, there's a parivartana between Sun and Mars. So between Lagna Lord and fifth Lord, there's a parivartana. And Jupiter, this is interesting combination. Ninth Lord Jupiter is in Samsaptaka from the Lagna Lord Mars. So there is a Rajoga between Lagna Lord and ninth Lord on the fifth house axis, fifth, 11th axis. So that's pretty conducive. So we looked at a few examples. Let us look at a couple more examples. I want to quickly show a couple of weddings that basically did not last long. 2022 March wedding happened. This is example 3, and example 4, 2018 marriage happened. And in the next year itself, the marriage ended. So I'll show the Tajika and Tidipravesh charts of 2023 and 2019 respectively. So let me bring up those charts. Example 3. So first let us look, we are in Pravesh, so let's look at Tithi Pravesh. So 2023 Tithi Pravesh chart. If we see it, so this is the annual chart of the year when divorce happened. And if you look at the Navamsa chart of wedding, you will see that there is a parivartana between Saturn and Jupiter. The second lord and third lord, second lord in third or third lord in second is a marga combination, because third is vitality and second is loss of it. And also seventh house is a marka house, eighth is longevity, seventh is marka. So seventh house is very strong here, and Lagna Lord is in the 12th house of basically loss or giving up, etc. And this parivartana between second and third lord is a bad marga combination. And also the eighth lord Mercury is afflicted by Rahu, and he is basically in the Bhadakasthana. So there are some negative indications in the Rasi chart. Even in the in the Navamsa chart, even in the Rasi chart, you will see that the third and eighth lord Venus is in the second house. Again, third lord in the second house. So that's a Marka combination. So there are some Marka combinations in the chart. And let's look at the Tajika chart. If you look at the Tajika chart of 2023, in the Rasi chart, you see that seventh lord is in seventh house and the Lagna lord is in the eighth house with the eighth and second lords. So basically, there are Marka combinations here. And if you look at the Navamsa chart, the eighth lord is in the seventh house. Again, second lord in third, third lord in second, eighth lord in seventh, seventh lord in eighth are Marka combinations. So eighth lord in seventh, there is a Marka combination. And also Lagna lord is debilitated in the third house of vitality, and third lord is debilitated in the second house. So lord of the house of vitality, Venus, is debilitated in the second house of loss of vitality. So basically, there are Marka combinations in both Tajika and Tidipravesh charts. And one thing I want to point out is, don't predict a divorce if you see in the annual charts that there is some problem. It depends on the Desekala Patra. In the old days, a similar Tajaka or Tithi Pravesh chart would have shown some problems in the marriage and some death-like suffering. But the thing is, nowadays, people divorce very easily. Basically, there's no serious intent to basically keep the marriage going in spite of troubles, to see uh, if it will flourish again if you basically go through that bad phase. So for all you know, the next year's Tajaka Tithi charts may be very positive, and if they just hung in there, maybe it would have survived. So you can't predict divorce kind of things just based on the annual charts. But the thing is, if you see combination like this, tell them to basically be careful, be patient during the year. If you are counseling those people, you can basically give them some advice, tell them that there may be some friction, and don't give up, just keep plugging. And one more thing is, at the time when the Tajaka chart or the Pravesh chart starts, at the time of the solar or sol lunar return, people can actually pray. So you can see what are the key combinations here, what is the one that protects the marriage. For example, you can say that Mars, the ninth lord, is in the fifth house, so maybe he is the protection. So worship Subramanya or Hanuman during that time, or Narasimha during that time. So you can suggest prayers at the time a new year starts also, if you see something bad in a year. And let us finally look at the Tithi Pravesh chart of, I think we looked at it. So let us look at the next chart. Example 4, marriage in 2018 and 2019, they got divorced. So Tithi Pravesh chart of 2019. So, okay, if you look at the Tithi Pravesh chart of 2019, you see that in the Navamsa chart, the seventh lord sun is in the eighth house. So again, that's a clear Marka combination. So there are other factors, but basically that's a pretty, in general, when you see lord in seventh or seventh lord in eighth, you have to be concerned. And let's look at the Tajaka chart of 2019. If you look at this Tajaka chart, you see that third lord sun is in the second house. So third lord in second, or second lord in third, is a Marka combination. So there is a Marka combination here. And also in the Rasi chart, the seventh and eighth lord, uh, Saturn, the seventh lord of marriage, is in the sixth house with the sixth lord. So when sixth and seventh lords are together, it shows quarrels, struggles, etc. in the marriage. So, and moreover, there is a parivartana between Lagna Lord and eighth Lord, Moon and Rahu. So Lagna Lord in eighth and eighth Lord in Lagna is not good. But by the way, Lagna Lord Moon is in Manakarka Sthana. For Moon particularly, eighth house is the Manakarka Sthana. So like this, basically you can see things like childbirth. That is what I meant. Childbirth, divorce, struggles in marriage, etc. I'll show just another example. Example 5. In the year of 2007, there was some friction in the marriage and there was temporary separation. They lived separately for a few months and then they got together. They patched up and they got together later within the same year. So I'll just show that example. Basically, these are older people. The other two examples I showed you are young people. So this is a previous generation. So basically, at that time, you try to patch things up. So this was basically similar, but there was a revival of the marriage. Okay, let me bring back the chart and example 5. So marriage in 2002 February. We look at the time. Okay, will be fine. 2007 is when the friction and temporary separation occurred. They lived separately for a few months. So if you look at the Rashi chart, the seventh lord of marriage, Mercury, is afflicted by 12th lord Rahu of loss, and Sun, quarrels, sixth lord. Basically, quarrels are separation. So Mercury is in the 12th house of loss or giving up, afflicted by sixth lord and 12th lord. So one indication. Other is eighth lord is in the Lagna. Eighth lord in the Lagna means basically eighth is it can be anxieties and tensions and suffering. By the way, normally in a native's chart, if eighth lord is in Lagna, it doesn't necessarily mean anything about marriage. It means health problems and anxieties, etc. But the thing is, here we are the entity whose chart we are looking at is their marital life. So Rasi chart is also important here. If the eighth lord is in Lagna, the marital life itself is under some duress. Now, if you look at the Navamsha chart of marriage and dharma, you can see that the third lord Jupiter is in second house, second lord Sun is in the third house. So there is a parivartana between second and third lords. Also, the eighth lord Sun is with the in the second house here with Jupiter, and third lord Jupiter is here. Third lord, seventh lord Moon is here. So seventh lord and second lord are in third, eighth lord and third lord are in second. So this is a very clear marka combination. So, but the thing is, the marriage survived. Perhaps because the Lagna Lord Saturn is basically pretty strong in the third house. For Saturn, particularly, third is a very good house. So Lagna Lord, though he's second Lord, he's also Lagna Lord. Lagna Lord is in third, basically shows vitality. And the other thing is, fifth house of Purpunya is Lord Venus is aspecting it. So there are some redeeming factors. And also, if you look at the Rasi chart, Lagna Lord Jupiter is in the ninth house, aspecting the ninth house, aspecting the Lagna. So basically, there is a blessing. And the ninth Lord, Mars of protection and fortune, blessings, he is exalted in the 11th house of gain. So there are some redeeming factors. But the thing is, what I say is, apart from looking at redeeming factors in the Rasi and Navamsha, you basically pay more attention to the the Desigala Patra, what kind of people they are, what attitude they have, because Jyotish works within the context of Desakala Patra. What is the country and what is the culture there, and what is the time, what is the era, and what is the culture in that era, what are the conventions in that era, and finally, what is the type of the person, and what is the what kind of society he comes from, and what is the attitude in his group of people in his community. So look at those also, practically speaking. And finally, look at the Tithi chart. You see that Lagna Lord is in the 8th house, and in the Rasi chart, 7th Lord Jupiter is in the 6th house. So that itself, apart from other factors, that it can itself can show some friction in the marriage. And so in the same Tajaka chart could have actually resulted in a divorce also. But the thing is, like I said, because of the redeeming factors and because of the attitude of the people involved, it ended up being just a temporary separation. So that is why it is useful to basically not jump to conclusions. We have to be realistic. We are not really gods. God only decides the destiny. We try to decipher it to some extent. So basically, if you see something negative, don't tell them you'll be divorced. Tell them there will be some friction in the marriage. Be careful and maybe do these prayers at this time and maybe during the year. And let us look at a couple of examples. We'll stick to example 2. 1994, they both relocated abroad. They moved away from India to a foreign country and they've been living abroad since then. So 1994 Tajka chart we'll see. And also in 2005, there were a lot of religious activities in their marriage. So we'll see those two events. 1994 2005. Let's remember that. So example 2, wedding in 1993 August. So let us look at the Taj chart of 1994. Is there a chance of moving abroad? Just like a person moves abroad, a marriage may move abroad. So basically their marital life is now happening in a foreign country. So the key charts are Rashi Navamsha and more importantly Chaturthamsha. D4 is the chart of residence. So let us look at the 1994 Tajka chart. If you look at the Rashi chart, the uh, ninth house is very strong. Ninth house contains ninth lord, and the ninth co-lord Rahu and the Karaka for foreign residence is with the seventh lord the Badhaka. Basically, ninth lord, Badhaka house, Rahu, 12th house. These are the houses that are important to see moving abroad. And if you look at the Chaturthamsha chart, you see that ninth lord Venus is in Lagna, and the Lagna lord Mercury, he is he is with Rahu, the Karaka of foreign residence. Also, he is aspected by Sun, the 12th lord, and Jupiter, the Badhaka lord. So, Badhaka lord, 12th lord, and Karaka are influencing Mercury, and Lagna contains the ninth lord. And we saw indications in the Rasi chart also. So, of course, if you have the charts of those two people also, you can see if there are indications in their chart, then you can be more confident. But just based on this, there is a good chance that the person may move abroad during the year. I just want to show one thing was Sahamas. If you look at the Sahamas, Jalapatana Sahamam and Pardesa Sahamam, those are relevant for moving abroad. So 7.5 degree Gemini and 16.5 degree Aquarius. So you can look at those Sahamams also, just like you see in the natal chart, in the individual's annual charts and natal chart. So Lagna is Pardesh Sahamam is very close to Lagna within 5 degrees, and Saturn is like within a degree or degree and a half from the Jalapatana Sahama, which is important for crossing oceans and going to a foreign place. So all the concepts of classical astrology that you use for the charts of individuals can be used for the charts of muhurtas also. Because there is an individual that is born at the time of that muhurta, even though that individual may be an abstract entity in your mind compared to a human being in flesh. Now, finally, in 2005, I said there was a lot of religious activities in their lives. Basically, a lot of rituals, a lot of big rituals were done. They came close to a Swamiji. He came to their house, stayed for a while, and did a lot of pujas, a lot of homas, etc. Also, they went to India and did a Sesjandi Homa. So a lot of, and they themselves started doing more rituals at home, started doing Durga Saptati every day. So a lot of religious activities happened during the year, basically. Even though they were religious and they were doing various things, activities before also, this year was like a inflection point. So if you look at the Rasi chart, Jupiter is the 12th lord of spirituality and moksha, etc. He is in the ninth house of dharma, religion, and he is with Ketu. So Jupiter Ketu combination ninth is always good for religious activities. And the Lagna lord Saturn and the ninth lord of dharma, Mercury, are together. There is a Raj Yoga between Lagna lord and ninth lord. And if you look at the Navamsha chart, because it is dharma in the end, the ninth lord of Dharma, Venus, and the fifth lord of Saturn, Purapunya Saturn, are together in Lagna. So basically, there is a. By the way, you may think that Mercury is in the sixth house, Lagna lord is actually in the fifth house. So Lagna lord in the fifth house and the fifth lord in Lagna with the ninth lord. So there are nice combinations. And finally, D20. It is a chart of Upasana. So if you look at the D20 chart, you see that Lagna lord Jupiter is aspecting the ninth house, and ninth lord Jupiter is aspecting the fifth house of Purapunya, and the Lagna lord is aspecting the Lagna. So, and also ninth house has a lot of, like, fifth lord is in ninth house. So while ninth lord is aspecting fifth, so there is a link between fifth and ninth. And ninth house contains a lot of interesting planets, a lot of interesting combinations. So like this, you can basically see religious activities, increase of religious activities, stoppage of religious activities, stuff like that also in the wedding based chart. And finally, let us look at a few other types of muhurtas in the next 10 minutes. Uh, I will give an example of a layoff. I mean, it's not exactly a layoff, but one second, let me. Uh, I will look at the Tithi Pravesh chart and Tajka chart of 2011. In September 2011, the person got laid off with a 6-month notice. Basically, he was required to stay for 6 months, and if he stayed for 6 months, he gets a lot of extra money and severance package. And he basically, within those 6 months, within a couple of months, he found another opportunity and he moved team during the year. So there was a death-like blow to the career during that year. So this is example 6. So let us look at example 6. So the person started started work in 1996 February at the company, and after this is wrong. Oh, this is right. Actually, the description is wrong. It's not 1996. It's actually 2004. Description is wrong. So yeah, this date is right. 2004 February 9, the person started working at that company, and in 2011 there was a. Actually, first let us look at the chart. Let's look at the 2011 Tithi chart, and Dasamsa is the relevant chart here. We are not looking at Upasana. So let us look at Dasamsa. So that is the most important chart. And first of all, if you look at the Rasi chart, the 10th lord of career moon, he's in the 12th house of loss, and he's with Saturn. In general, Shani Chandra combination can show suffering, pain, anguish, etc. So there are some indications that there may be some sad events relating to career during this year. But the thing is, there are other good combinations also, positives also in this chart. Now let us look at the Dasamsa chart. If you look at the Dasamsa chart, oh, by the way, if you look at the Navamsa chart, Lagna Lord is in the 8th house, and 8th Lord is with Badaka Lord, and the 10th house contains 3rd Lord. 3rd is the house of temporary break in career, etc. So because and the 8th is long break in the career. So 3rd Lord in the 10th house and 10th Lord in Badaka house, there are some negative combinations here. But let us look at the Dasamsa. This is the main chart. If you look at the Dasamsa chart, the seventh Lagna Lord is in 7th house, which is not bad, but the 7th Lord moon is in the 8th house. 7th Lord in 8th and 8th Lord in 7th are Marka combinations. So this is a Marka combination, and he's with Ketu. He's eclipsed by Ketu. So there are some severe combinations here, but the blessing is he's also with the Yokaraka and the 5th Lord of Purvapunya and the 10th Lord Venus. So basically, that could have been the redeeming factor. After a couple of months of tension, he basically found a job within the company. I mean, he actually found a job outside also, but he wanted to continue with the company. But this is the chart. If you look at the person's chart, you may have seen that. But in this chart, what you see is there is a death blow to this particular entity called tenure at that company, but it basically survived. If you look at the 2011 chart, if you look at the Rasi chart, if you look at the Dasamsa chart, let us look at the Dasamsa chart. The Lagna Lord is in an inimical sign in the 6th house, in a Dusthana, afflicted by 8th Lord who's exalted. So if exalted 8th Lord afflicting Lagna Lord is not a positive combination, but there are some redeeming factors, like the 9th Lord of Fortune is in the 10th house of career, and the 10th Lord is in a trine from him. 10th and 9th Lords in a trine on the 10th house axis. So there is a redeeming factor. So basically, he ended up keeping his job. Not the same job. There was a change in the job, which is probably because Lagna Lord is in an inimical sign in 6th house with the 8th Lord. But he basically remained with the company. The nature of the work changed. He was managing a big team, and they got out of a line of business. So basically, he lost his entire team, but he moved to a different team, and he managed a smaller team which grew later. So let us look at a few other examples. Now let us look at positive things. We look at layoffs. So let us look at promotions. So same chart that we are looking at, he got a promotion in March 2014 and March 2016. So let us look at the Tajka charts of 2014 and 2016. 2014 and 2016. So Tajka chart of 2014. So basically a couple of years after he moved to a different team, he got a promotion. If you look at the Rasi chart, the 10th Lord of career Venus is in the 5th house of recognition, and the 5th Lord Jupiter is in Samsaptaka. So 5th and 10th Lords have a Raj Yoga, a Samsaptaka on the 5th house axis. So that is a blessing. And if you look at the Samsha chart of career, the fifth lord of promotion, Mercury is in Lagna, and Saturn and Venus are together. Lagna Lord Venus and Yokarka Saturn are together in the third house, aspecting ninth house. So Lagna Lord, ninth Lord together, aspecting the ninth house, and the fifth Lord in Lagna. So these two are really really good combinations that can justify getting promoted during the year. Of course, if you see, one word of caution, note of caution I want to add is, if you see a combination like this, just don't just promote that the person will be, don't just predict that the person will be promoted. That is one possibility. What it shows is there will be recognition in career during the year, and it can come with a promotion, or it can just come with basically people seeing what the person is doing and appreciating. So appreciation can come in different ways. So, but the thing is, you can conclude that this is a positive year. So uh, you can take some risks during that year. Whereas if you see a year being bad, you have to be extra cautious during that year. Now let us look at the Tajka chart of the 2016 year. If you look at the Rasi chart, the fifth house of promotion is aspected by Yokarka Venus, and the Lagna Lord is in the 10th house. So Lagna Lord is well placed in the 10th house. Fifth house is having aspect of Yokarka, which are good. But let us look at the Dasyamsha. In the Dasyamsha chart, the fifth lord of promotion, Mercury, and Mars, the seventh lord, they are basically together in the second house, and Mercury is in one house. So fifth lord is in one house, very strong. He has a Raj Yoga with the seventh lord. So that is one thing. The other is there is a Gajgesari Yoga in the Lagna. The other thing is the Lagna Lord Venus and the ninth Lord and Yokarka Saturn are together in the fifth house of recognition and promotion. So there is a Rajoga between Lagna Lord and Yokarka in the fifth house of promotion. So it's not really it's not very surprising that he got promoted during the year. And finally, last promotion example. Let's look at example 7. New job in 2020 August. He started in 2020 August, and he got promoted in 2021. Actually, 2022 July. But you can, because it is before August, before the new chart start commence for that year, you look at the 2021. So let's look at the 2021 example 7. 2021 example 7. Let us look at the first. Let us look at the Tithi Pravesh chart. 2021 Tithi Pravesh chart. You see that the Lagna contains ninth Lord Venus, so it's a blessing. And of course, we are talking about his tenure at the company. So basically, blessing means it is good for career. And the fifth Lord Saturn is in the fifth house, so it is positive for the tenure at the company. And in the if you look at the Samsha chart, in the Samsha chart, the 10th lord of career Sun and the 5th lord of recognition Jupiter are together in the 5th house. And there are other positive things, but this is enough basically. 10th lord and 5th lord together in the 5th house with the 5th lord in one sign. This is a great combination for promotion during the. And finally, let us look at Tadka chart of 2021 of the same person. You see that Lagna Lord is in Lagna, so it is, and Yokarka Venus, fifth Lord of promotion Venus is in the ninth house. So basically, and they are in mutual trines. So there is and he's also taking part in a Raj Yoga with Moon. So there is a nice combination in the Rasi chart, and in the Navamsha chart, if in the Dashamsha chart, if you see, ninth Lord, Lagna Lord and ninth Lord are together. By the way, Jupiter, if you look at the longitudes, Jupiter is actually in the 11th house. So this Raj Yoga is not very strong. So Jupiter, the ninth Lord, is aspecting the 5th house, and 5th Lord Sun is aspecting the Lagna very closely. If you look at the longitudes, basically within like 9 minutes. So 5th Lord is aspecting the Lagna Lord, and the ninth Lord is aspecting 5th. So, and more importantly, the 10th Lord is very strong. So it is a good year for career. And And in the Tajika chart, you saw Tithi Pravesh chart, you saw even stronger indications. So both together, this was basically a year of promotion for the person. Finally, I will, before I conclude and open up for questions, we'll we'll look at a Gruha Pravesha chart. So if somebody does Gruha Pravesha in a house, the kind of things you can see is leaving the house or having some problems with the house, maybe some damage to the house, etc. But I will look at some positive things here in this particular example. A lot of religious activities happened in late 2005 and early 2006 in that house. So again, when you start living in a house, if there is a lot of dharmic work happening in that house, that will be seen in the Gruha Pravesha chart also, because you are living in that particular house as an owner. In that entity's life, lot of dharmic work happening in that particular place is an important event. So let us look at the Tajka chart of 2005. A lot of religious activities happening in the house. And finally, the person started doing a daily homa in mid-August 2006. So basically, since then, the owner of the house has been doing a daily homa in the house. So let's look at 2006 Tajika chart as well as 2005, because this is the year when lot of positive things happened uh, in relating to dharma in that house basically. So this is Gruha Pravesha example. Example 8, Gruha Pravesha in 2001 August. So first let us look at Tajika chart of 2005. So let us look at Rasi chart. You see that the Lagna Lord, the ninth Lord Mars is in Mulatrikona in the ninth house. So it is basically good for dharma. During that year in that house, lot of dharma will happen, and the Lagna Lord Sun, he's in the 12th house of moksha, spirituality, etc. He's with the 12th Lord Moon. So basically, it can show a lot of spiritual activities during the year. And finally, the 5th Lord Jupiter is with Ketu. And there is a yoga between 4th and 5th Lords. So 4th and 5th Lords together, and that too Jupiter and Ketu can show a lot of spiritual activities. So Lagna has Katari from Jupiter Ketu on one hand, and Sun Moon on the other hand, the Lagna Lord and 12th Lord. So this can also show a lot of spiritual activities during the year. And if you look at the Navamsha chart, you see that Lagna Lord is in the 12th house of Moksha, and the 9th Lord is in own house, is in the 9th house. So basically, and 5th Lord and 9th Lord are together. There is a samsaptaka between, there is a yoga between 5th and 9th Lords in the 9th house. So this shows a lot of dharmic activity in the house. And look at the Navamsha chart, the chart of Dharma. Lagna Lord Mars and the 9th Lord Moon in one sign, and the 5th Lord Jupiter in exaltation are together in the 9th house. By the way, the other Lagna Lord Ketu is also there. So both the Lagna Lords Mars and Ketu, 9th Lord in one sign and 5th Lord in exaltation, are in the 9th house. So this shows very high level of dharmic activity during the in that house during that year. And indeed, there was a lot of dharmic work. And finally, in 2006, the person started doing as a result of various dharmic activities that happened in the house. Uh, it culminated in the person taking up a daily Homa practice during the next year in 2006, mid August. So if you look at the Tajka chart of 2006, you can see that in the Rasi chart, the Lagna Lord Venus and the 9th Lord in one sign Mercury are in the 9th house. So basically, there is a nice combination in the 9th house. So this is a very important year for dharma being followed in that particular house. And if you look at the Navamsa chart, you see that Lagna Lord is in Lagna. So basically, again, it's a very good year for dharma. And 10th Lord Jupiter, 10th is for karmas, rituals, etc., are actions. So 10th house is important for karma. So by the way, here also 10th house contains Yokarka Saturn. And here 10th Lord is in own sign Jupiter, Sattvic planet. So basically, and Jupiter shows traditional stuff. So a lot of traditional karmas happening relating to dharma happening in the house during that year. And if you finally look at the Vimshamsa chart, in the Vimshamsa chart, the of spirituality, upasana, etc., Lagna Lord Mars and fifth Lord Jupiter are in Samsaptaka. There is a close Samsaptaka between them, so that is also good for dharmic activity in the house. So, like this, basically, oops, you can see events like wedding, starting a new job, or uh, moving into a house, etc., or taking oath as the prime minister or president of a country, etc., and look at the annual Tadka Tithi charts of a year to see key events relating to that particular area of life in that particular year, during that particular year. And you can look at the Tadka chart and Tithi chart, both of them, and that will give you more confidence. If one of them is showing very strongly or both of them are showing somewhat strongly, you can be confident that an event will happen. And when it comes to the nature of the event, you basically you basically try to combine with the natal chart also, in case you have the natal chart of the person. And if you don't have the natal chart, you can just rely on this. But if you have natal chart, you can combine this. So this is basically the finding of my own research. But as I said earlier, it is based on sound principles. Basically, I am a believer that the teachings of rishis can be extended, provided it is you have a nice platform that you are building on. You have nice foundational logic and also foundational principles, and I believe that is the case here. So that is why I shared my research with you. Now I will, in the remaining 20-25 minutes, I'll take your questions.
Thank you, Narasimha Rao ji. That was a very insightful class on annual charts on Muhurta. It's definitely interesting to know how even a Muhurta chart plays such a great role in people's lives through the various case studies that you gave. I'm sure our audience definitely appreciated it.
Thank you.
Sir, as you said, we now move to the Q&A session.
Yeah.
The questions, you know the drill, it'll come up on the screen. Could you kindly read it out aloud for the benefit of everyone and then
Of course,
answer
I
them?
will. I will. Yeah. As soon as I see something, I will read it. I'm still waiting.
Sure, sir.
Well, if there are no questions, we can end early. Should I read the name also, or should the name be anonymous?
That'll be great, sir, if you can
Okay.
read the name.
So there is a question from Mr. Chaitanya Prabhu. Namaste, Guruji. My question: how to find birth time of child if only date is known? I will be grateful if you can guide. Sincere thanks. There are some rectification principles that some people use, but I don't buy them. I basically did not uh, find them convincing enough, so I don't use them. And some people, based on how you look, how you behave, etc., you can try to narrow down the lagna in the Rasi chart, which sign he must be. In some cases, it will be very, very clear. Like somebody is very emotional and sensitive, you can probably guess that it's Cancer Lagna. Like that, depending on the attitude, somebody is very authoritative, it's probably Simha Lagna. But the thing is, you can never be 100% sure, because the similar qualities can be coming with another lagna depending on the planetary configuration. So it's very difficult to be confident. In some cases, you can conclude the Rasi lagna, and once you conclude the Rasi lagna, if you know when the person got married, you can try to conclude the Navamsa lagna. Or if you know some events in the Dasyamsa in the career, you can conclude Dasyamsa lagna. So you can try to narrow down if you have enough events in the life of the person. But in general, there are just too many different profiles that are born in a particular day. So many different combinations of Rasi, Navamsa, Dasyamsa, and various divisional charts. So it's practically impossible. But you can try. If there are some strong qualities about the person that are very distinctive, you can try to first narrow down the Rasi Lagna, then Navamsa, and maybe Dasyamsa, and other areas of life. But it is very difficult, and most of the time you can't be really confident at all, 100% confident of what you came up with. And one word I want to say is, any principles of rectification that are just analytical, just formulaic, are not really reliable at all. What is more reliable is looking at the characteristic, looking at events in the life, and trying to reverse engineer, map them to the chart, and see which chart is explaining things better. So start with 12 different possibilities, which is making more sense as Rasi chart. Then within the start with 9 different possibilities for Navamsa chart, see which is making more sense depending on when the person got married, which dasha antardasha. So that is a more reliable approach, but still it's not you can't be 100% confident, and that is why I taught this technique. If you want to predict about marital life, look at the wedding. If you want to predict promotion, layoff, etc., look at the chart of the person basically joining a new job, etc., because those are likely to be known. But it is very tough. What you asked is almost impossible, but sometimes it is possible in some corner cases. Question from Mr. Anil Kumar. How will the Parivartana work and how to interpret it in Muhurta charts? Well, to me, I don't distinguish between Muhurta charts and natal charts. Just like in natal chart is the chart of the birth of a particular entity who all we perceive as a human being. The Muhurta chart is the birth of another entity, which is basically which has its own life, its own destiny, its own momentum in life. So momentum of karmas in life. So to me, it is basically you use the same way as you use in natal chart. So if there are parivartanas, depends on who the parivartana is between. Suppose there is a parivartana between fourth lord and fifth lord, or ninth lord and fourth lord. Those are auspicious parivartanas because there is a confluence between the energies brought by those two entities. For example, fourth house, it is the house of mother or the house of comfort, house of peace, sukha. Ninth house, it is the house of father or protection. So when there is a confluence between protection and comfort, that's a blessing. On the other hand, if it is a duryoga, if it is a parivartana between, let's say, lagna lord and eighth lord, eighth is basically a lot of ups and downs, and lagna is overall existence. So there is a confluence between overall existence and ups and downs. So that's not a positive combination. So like that, depending on the parivartana, depending on who the parivartana is between, which lords, it will give the results accordingly, and it's the same in Muhurta chart. Only thing you have to keep in mind is in the individual's chart, Rasi chart shows the body of the person. Navamsa shows the dharma, marriage, etc. Dasamsa shows career. If you're looking at new job starting Muhurta, then Rasi itself is not the body. There's no body for the new job. It's basically the very job itself. So Rasi itself shows a lot of light, throws light on the career itself, on how the tenure progresses during the year. So like that, what Rasi chart shows is slightly modified. It is more closer to the journal chart itself, depending on what the Muhurta is for. Other than that, exactly what different houses show is slightly different. Other than that, you use the same principles. Next question. Vijay Bhaskarji asked, Guruji, we are looking at longitude and shifting the planets to the next house. It is said Bhavacharit is skewed view of native, whereas actual chart is God's view. If so, why do we give preference to it? I don't buy that. God's view is not. See, we make a Rashi chart because it's convenient to see which Rashi a planet is in. Rashi chart only shows which Rashi planet is in. It doesn't show Bhava. There's no concept of Bhava or house in the Rashi chart. Bhava or house is in the house chart. When if Lagna is at 1 degree Sagittarius and Jupiter is at 29 degrees Scorpio, Jupiter is in first bhava, he's in Scorpio. When the Rashi chart people show Jupiter in the 12th sign, it doesn't mean that he's in the 12th house. He is in first house only. There is no concept of he's in first 12th house in the Rashi chart, he's in the first house in the bhava chart. There are no houses in the Rashi chart. Rashi chart is a collection of Rashis. Which Rashis are occupied by which planets? Bhava chart is a collection of bhavas, which is basically look at it as a table. A table that shows Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and then planets in the other column. And Bhava chart is a table showing bhavas and planets basically in the other column. First house, second house, third house, and which planets are in which bhava. So in that particular example I gave, Jupiter is in 12th bhava. He is in Sagittarius Rashi. So when you are looking at Rashi, like whose Rashi he is in, etc., he's in own Rashi or friend's Rashi, you look at Rashi Chakra. When you want to see which bhava he is in, which bhava he occupies, which bhavas he aspect, etc., you only look at the bhava chakra. And This applies not only to the so-called Rasi chart, but Navamsa, Dasamsa, etc. In all the charts, the bhava is computed based on longitude. And this is not my teaching, this is Parashara's teaching. To see the aspects of planets and the houses of planets, he gave clear formulas based on the longitude and the differences between the longitude. He gave clear quantification. So the notion that Jupiter at 29 degrees Scorpio is in the 12th house in Rasi chart, but first house in Bhava is nonsense. There is no Bhava in Rasi chart. Rasi chart has Rasis, Bhava chart has Bhavas, period. Unfortunately, because of the mainstream conventions being different, it will sound revolutionary to people. It will sound kind of weird to people, but this is the only reality. What people are living with is absolutely nonsense. Next question, please. Question from Rekha BSG. Nowadays, people catch / keep Muhurta with Sun in 11th house for any event. Really? Why? I thought 10th house is more common. Anyway, but neglect other basic requirements of a good Muhurta. How correct is this? Okay. I'm not aware of Sun in the 11th house. In general, any planet in the 11th house is good as far as that planet is concerned. But I think what is more common is Sun in the 10th house, exact 10th house. Whatever the Lagna longitude is, Sun is exactly at the same longitude in the 10th house. So that is known as Abhijit Muhurta. Abhijit, and some Shastras say that if Abhijit Muhurta, if something is done at Abhijit Muhurta, all other doshas in the Muhurta are cancelled. So basically, sun exactly on the midheaven, basically noon time, exact noon, but not the physical noon like 12 o'clock based on the modern clock, but based on the sun clock. So it is definitely if you don't have a good astrologer to pick you a good muhurta, if you just want to go by thumb rules, want to pick something convenient, this is a good rule because sun in the 10th house is a blessing. This is definitely a positive thing, but I don't buy the notion that compensates all doshas in the chart. For example, if the sun is the eighth lord in Tantra is not good for career, so it may be even bad for the career itself. And if you are looking at marriage, the seventh lord is very important. So looking at the lords of the house corresponding to the main event of the muhurta and the strength of the lagna lord are important. So I would not. This is definitely a good factor. And if you can't judge other factors, go by this factor. But if you have the ability, I suggest judging all the factors. And one more thing is in the Muhurta chart, people don't look at divisional chart. They only look at Rasi. Of course, Rasi is important, but I suggest looking at the corresponding divisional chart. Navamsa for marriage, Dasyamsa for career, and Chatuthamsa for housewarming, and Vimshamsa for starting some new sadhana. So like that, basically, look at the corresponding divisional chart also and pick the Muhurta and give weightage to the whole chart. Not, by the way, if all principles of natal horoscopy apply to annual charts, they obviously apply to Muhurta chart itself. So look at it as a holistic chart instead of looking at one principle. But if you don't have a good astrologer accessible, go by this principle. Either this or another principle is Jupiter in Lagna or aspecting Lagna closely. That is a great protection. So these two principles can be used if you don't know how to pick a good horoscope, a good Muhurta horoscope. Next question, please. Okay, I think that's the end
I
of the
think
question.
that's
Very
yeah.
good, very good.
Thank you again, Narasimha Rao ji, for the
Thank
excellent
you, Archana ji.
masterclass.
Thanks for the opportunity given by Raman and Rajeshri Research Foundation. Thank you very much.
So that completes the masterclass series, the Vedic Astrology Masterclass series of 2023 by Raman and Rajeshri Foundation started on 2nd September and it comes to an end today. So with your class, an expert class, the masterclass series was a special edition for Dr. B.V. Raman's 111th Jayanti celebration. This was a great opportunity for astrology enthusiasts to learn astrology in a quick way from the masters themselves. Hope all our viewers utilized, learned, and enjoyed the 10 master classes from the eminent teachers. If you missed any class and are interested, then do take a look at these in this channel. And again, to the viewers, also, if you'd like to stay informed about similar sessions by the foundation, we encourage you to visit the website noted in this session or join the Telegram channel. Dhanyavadaha.